Hari Om. In today's recording, we will carry on with the discussion on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, starting from verse number 11, as we have completed verse number 10 in the last recording. So, what we've seen so far in this chapter, which is entitled The Division Between the Divine and the Demoniac. Divine is Daivi and demoniac is Asuric. So the Lord is describing the tendencies of human beings, and he divides all human beings into either divine or demoniac. And what are the qualities that make one a divine human being? In chapter 16 verses 1, 2 and 3, Sri Krishna listed out 26 divine qualities that make a human being divine. And then he also listed out the demoniac tendencies in human beings in verse number 4. And then in verse number 5, he said, divine tendencies will take a human being to liberation, will give a person moksha, will lead a person to moksha. And demoniacal tendencies will only create bondage, meaning that we will come back for repeated births again and again and again. So having given us the goal of the divine and the demoniac tendencies, the Lord then says that he wishes to elaborate more on the demoniac tendencies because he has not given much explanation on that. So starting from verse number 8 onwards, he started to list out the characteristics of demonic people. We have already seen some of the characteristics in verses 8, 9 and 10 in the last lesson, and today we will proceed on with verse number 11. And we must keep in mind that the demonic people fall under two types of categories. There are those who believe in God, they have belief in God, they have belief in rituals and prayers, but they use rituals and prayers to advance more of their selfish desires. And then there are also demonic people who have totally no belief at all in the scriptures, in God, in creation, in karma, etc. So let us now carry on with explanation on verse number 11, where the Lord carries on to give the characteristics of the demonic people. So the Lord says there is one constant companion of demonic people. And what is that? He says in verse number 11, they are upasritaha. Upasritaha means they are beset or they are endowed with or full of chintan. Chintan means cares, worry. And not just one or two worries trouble them in their mind, but the Lord says, Aparimeyam. Aparimeyam means innumerable. They have countless of worries and things which are always troubling their mind. And why is that so? Because the mind of a demoniac person is constantly occupied with the acquisition for things they don't have. So constantly they are trying to find out ways and means how to acquire more and more to satisfy their selfish desires. And what about things they already have? Are they happy? No. For they worry how long can they hold on to them. Will somebody take it away? Or does somebody have more than me? Then they feel envious and jealous of that person. So just like power, when one is attached to power, you are so attached to power that you worry that somebody may come and topple you away from that position of power. So neither are they satisfied. They are always preoccupied with how to hold on to what they have, and whatever they have also they are not happy. So their minds are always contemplating to get more and more and more. So when such a mind is only constantly occupied by acquisition and preservation, then it leads to a cause of number of worries, and that drives them to put more efforts to maintain what they have and to obtain what they don't have. And constantly such a demonic mind is never happy because In a demonic mind, when one desire is satisfied, another desire props up. So in English language, there's a beautiful phrase: past tense, present tense, future tense. For demonic people, their past is also full of tense, they're full of worries. In the present also they are always tense, and in the future also, when they think about the future also, it makes them tense. In all three periods of times they are tense or in a state of anxiety with innumerable worries. And if the worries are only for some time, a few weeks or a few months or a few days, it is okay. But because their desires are unlimited, their worries are also unlimited. And their worries go on right to the end of life. So the Lord adds one more characteristic, that He says that demoniac people are constantly plagued with worries when pralayantam, until all the way to their death. So while they're living, they never enjoy a peaceful, happy mind. Always the mind is stressed out. And to such people, the Lord says, Parama, what is the highest goal? What is their ultimate goal in life? There are only two things that they cherish in life. One is karma, to satisfy as much desires, selfish desires as they can. And the other is artha, to acquire more and more and more possessions as they can. So the Lord says, Parama, their highest goal is karma and artha, and they are constantly, as a result that their goals, they have so many selfish desires, as a result they are always running about kama upabhoga. Kama upabhoga means engrossed in the enjoyments of desirable objects, constantly seeking more sense pleasures and acquisition of more objects, more position, more power. And the Shastras, our scriptures, they don't say don't enjoy pleasures, but the Shastras, our scriptures say balance your material growth with spiritual growth. It is not that we cannot enjoy. If we have the money, we've earned the money legitimately, and we are going to a nice restaurant to eat food, we enjoy that, it's okay. But we should not just only give what we call our whole life and surrender our whole life to enjoying sense pleasures, but the scriptures say balance your life, progress materially, enjoy the pleasures whatever you have, but at the same time grow spiritually. So have a balanced growth. But these demonic people, they are only interested in karma and artha, selfish desires and possessions. Thus, they are not interested in the other two goals of human life, which is called dharma, to lead a righteous life, and moksha, to attain self-realization. So, such people live a one-sided, lopsided life. And what is it that they spend their whole lives? Why is it that they spend their whole lives in pursuit of this karma and artha? Because Krishna says they are nishchitaha. Nishchitaha means they feel very, very sure, very convinced that the whole purpose of life, the whole purpose of this human birth is that iti. Iti means that, etavad. Etavad means there is nothing other than life than just to enjoy life. So eat, drink and be merry. Beyond these three goals, there is nothing else for a human being to do. They should not. They are so strongly convinced. They so strongly believe that beside eat, drink, and be merry, there are no other goals of human life. There is no other higher purpose of human life. And if we are only interested in artha and karma, then how is a human life different from animal life? Because animals also like to satisfy their sense pleasures. They eat, they drink, they procreate. They are doing basically the same things as the demonic people. And animals also engage in artha, possessions. They find a suitable place to for a shelter for themselves. They also run about, they work hard to acquire or hoard food. So, leading such a life of pursuing artha and kama, a human being is no different than an animal. And therefore, where has this human being who wastes his time only pursuing artha and kama, there is no inclination to pursue the other two goals, dharma and moksha. Swami Chinmayananda says that the goal of life for humans is to elevate themselves from animal man. Animal man means where the goal is only artha and kama. Swami Chinmayananda says one should elevate themselves from animal man to man. Man means when humans add dharma to their life. So if you are animal man, you're only interested in karma and artha, we should progress one level higher to man, where we add in the goal of dharma. And then we go on to God man, when you add in one more goal called moksha, when you value moksha in your life. But these demoniac people remain at the first stage of life, that is called animal man. Then in verse number 12, the Lord carries on to describe more qualities of such demonic people. He says the demonic people are full of these traits. What are these traits? Asa. The word asa here means cravings or endless desires, many of which are impossible to satisfy and sometimes beyond the means of such a person. The demonic people, they want things that even according to their what we call money, according to their level of finance, they might not be able to afford it. So asa, they are saturated with endless desires and many cravings. Pasa means attachments. So what is the difference between desire and attachment? Asa is desires, pasa is attachment. Desire is for what you don't have. Attachment is holding on to what you have. So there are two things. One is desire for what we don't have, and we are attached to what we already have, and how do we hold on to it? Nobody wants to. The demonic people do not want to give up to what they already have, whether it is power or wealth or position or status. So how many desires or attachments are there in a demonic person? The Lord says in verse 12, satir. Satir means in hundreds, uncountable. Their desires are unlimited, their attachments are unlimited. So by their own desires and attachments, they are baddaha. The word baddaha here means bound. They are shackled by their hundreds of desires and attachment. They are driven, and as a result of being shackled by hundreds of desires and attachment, they are pushed to a life of endless actions, and these are all selfish actions. And the Lord goes on to say, such people are para, highest, ayana. Ayana means resort. They are highest level of what? Kama. Kama means lust. Krodha means anger. Their entire life is lived with giving in to their lust, their desire, and being overcome by anger. So why is there anger? We have discussed before that any desire which is interrupted leads to anger, frustration. So whenever the more desires we have, and we cannot sometimes satisfy when there are so many desires, maybe 50% of the desires we can satisfy, 50% of the desires we cannot satisfy. And when these desires eat away at our mind, and there are obstacles and obstructions to our satisfying our desires, the offshoot of such obstructive desires is anger, frustration, depression. So the Lord says they are full of a life of kama, desire, and krodha, of anger. And there is no self-discipline or control in their lives, fulfilling each desire leads to cultivation of more desires, and being unable to fulfill their desires leads them to anger, frustration, and these two qualities, that is, endless desires and anger or frustration, become a major obstacle on the spiritual path. A man filled with desire and anger is a mind filled with desire and anger is not a conducive mind for the study of scriptures. So, I remember reading a particular story somewhere. It says that a rich man, he was driving his expensive sports car at a very top speed, very high speed, and he was taking very dangerous corners and all that at very high speed. At one point, the car got out of control, it overturned, and he was thrown out of the car. The car burst into flames, and he was thrown out of the car. He was alive, but the whole car burst into flames. So a patrol car, police car came by and saw this rich man sitting by the roadside, and he was crying, "Oh, my Ferrari car, oh, my Ferrari car." The rich man was so engrossed in grieving for his burning car that he did not notice that when he was flung from the car, his right arm had been torn away from him. He didn't have the right arm anymore. But because he was so engrossed and he was crying over the loss of his car, he didn't even notice his right arm had been torn away from him. So the policeman said, "Sir, stop crying for your car. Look, you have lost your right arm." And then the rich man, he stopped crying. He was shocked when he saw that his right arm was missing. And then he started crying again. What did he cry for? He says, "Oh, my Rolex watch, oh, my Rolex watch." He was more worried about the watch that was missing rather than his right arm. So this is the what we call the mentality or the characteristic of such divine people. They are so engrossed with materialistic and sensual pursuits that they don't even consider what we call the healthy pursuits in life. So we are still at verse number 12. So ihante, the Lord says, ihante. Ihante means when we lead an indisciplined life of pursuing desires, you must understand a very important thing. The more desires you have, and we lead a life of trying to satisfy all his desires, a time will come when the desires overpower the individual. And in order to satisfy the craving for unlimited desires, what happens? The Lord says, ihante. These people, they strive. They put in all types of plans and schemes and efforts for what? Artha samchayan. Artha samchayan means to amass more and more wealth, power, position, and if they cannot get it by legitimate means, then what do? Then he says, anyayena, they attain it through foul means, because these desires torment them and they cannot satisfy them, and the desires overpower them, and finally, in order to satisfy the cravings of these desires, they resort to foul means. They violate all ethical, moral values. Just for what? The Lord says, kama bhogartham, to fulfill their lust, their desires. Thus they take to corruption, cheating, fraud, and even these are the very same people who fall or for what? For get rich quick scams. These are the people who get carried away when somebody says, we can double or triple or quadruple your money within 1 week, because they are so what we call possessed by the desires to get rich quick. So kama bhogartham, they give in to a life to fulfill all their lust and desires. Now, initially, some conscience may prick an individual when they resort to corruption or cheating or fraud. But when an individual keeps on getting away from all ethical and breaking all ethical and moral laws, and they become rich and prosperous and powerful, slowly what happens? Even their conscience becomes weak. And when that intellect also becomes weak, it also starts to justify to these demoniac people that other people are also doing it. What is wrong if you also do it? There's nothing wrong. Again, I must stress the scriptures are not against acquiring wealth, but earning wealth by foul means, taking to adharma to satisfy desires, is not at all prescribed by the scriptures. So wealth must always be earned legitimately and also be shared with others who are less fortunate. Now, from verses 13, 14 and 15, you will see that there are inverted commas. It used to indicate, these inverted commas are used to indicate this is how demoniac people who are engrossed with sensual and materialistic desires, how do they speak and behave? That's why you'll notice that these three verses contain words in inverted commas. So what is the philosophy of such people? Time is money, which means what? All my time must be devoted to increasing my wealth. Any activity that does not improve my material state is a waste of time. I will not engage in that. But as I've mentioned earlier, scriptures say you must give importance to Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. But at the same time, don't only just give importance to Lakshmi, you must also give some time to Saraswati. Saraswati means scriptural studies, wisdom, gaining the right spiritual knowledge. And at the same time, we also must give time to Parvati. Parvati represents health. So therefore, all three are important. We must have wealth, we must have wisdom, we must have good health also. And that's why the three, what we call the three deities, Lakshmi, Saraswati and Parvati, represent the three goals of life. But to a materialistic person, he forgets Parvati, he forsakes his health in pursuit of wealth, and gradually even forgets Saraswati, which is knowledge and wisdom. So this is how a person behaves. The Lord says, idam, this manoratham, this desired object, whatever they desire, the desired object in the form of wealth, status, power, labdam. This is how they speak. This is how a demoniac people engrossed with all kinds of sensual and materialistic desires. This is the way they conduct themselves. They say, idam manoratham, this desire, labdam, has been gained, maya, by me, adya, today, by my own effort. Nobody has helped me. I only have worked so hard to gain all this position, strength, position, what we call status, power, wealth, etc. So this is how they speak. This whatever I desire has been gained by me today. So up to now, all the things that I have desired, I alone have worked hard to attain all this. So they are very boastful, very proud of their materialistic achievements. Now, does that mean such people are happy with whatever they have? They boast about what they have. But are they happy? No. Because why? They have another list of huge desires which are not fulfilled. So what do they say? They say, imam, that other, all those things which I desire and I don't have, prapshe. Prapshe means I also will acquire that. Eventually, I will work hard. I will make sure that I will acquire all those things which I desire and I don't have. I will fulfill all my other desires. So such a type of people are always keeping track of what is their current wealth position. So they say, idam dhanam, this wealth, asti, is in my hands right now. This is my position. I have so many properties, I have so many houses, I have so many businesses in different countries. So if I am number 5 this year, I want to be number 4 next year. If I'm number 4 next year, I want to be number 3 next year. So they are so preoccupied with how others are also gaining on them. They are always worried about those who have more than them. At the same time, they turn back and look at many people who are advancing and going to take over their position. So, in order to make sure that somebody doesn't take over my position, then I have to work harder. I have to constantly keep stock of where I am. So such demonic people say, api also dhanam punar. Dhanam means wealth, punar means again, bhavishyati is coming. So not only they take stock of their present wealth and they boast about it, but they also boast of what more they're going to acquire, bhavishyati. They project where they're going to be in the next year, how much more properties, how much more wealth they're going to acquire. They never talk about how many people they're going to help. They don't think about how to help others with their wealth, power, position, but they only think about how to increase whatever they have. So they make a lot of plans for the growth of their wealth. So that brings us to verse number 14. And due to the overpowering of their ego, they express themselves in this way. What do they say? They cannot bear to see others progressing more faster than them. So they cannot bear to see other people succeed. Anybody who succeeds brings them anger, jealousy, and what we call disappointment. So frustration. And those who are more successful, who are more than them, so what do? They classify them as Shatru. This person is my enemy. Why is he my enemy? Because I look upon what he has, and if he has more than me, then he's my enemy. Or if he's trying to chase up to overtake my position, he is my enemy. Such people cannot bless others, be happy for other people's success. So what they do, they seek to, the word the Lord uses here, hataha. Hataha means they try all ways and means to destroy the others. By foul means, by whatever way they can to sabotage people, he says they try to destroy all their enemies. And they proudly claim, Asau Satru Hathamayaha. That competitor, that enemy has been killed or has been destroyed by me. They proudly proclaim this. They scheme to bring other people down, and they are proud to declare that they have destroyed this person's business or this person's career. That is the nature. And what about all future competitors? They claim now whatever they've destroyed some people, but they also boast about in future that they see those people who are trying to chase up. Maybe they're fighting for a promotion in the same company. So what do they say? Hani Yashe, I shall easily kill or destroy Aparan, other competitors. So not only will I destroy those who are ahead of me, I will bring them down, but I will also destroy others who are trying to chase up and trying to overtake my position. So they try to destroy all their enemies, and not only their enemies, but also they cannot stand to see even relatives who are more successful than them, friends who are more successful than them. So, and normally such people, unfortunately, are so powerful and they have strong connections. Sometimes they can get away with many crimes also. Okay. So how do these people behave? They say, present enemies have been destroyed by me. Anybody in the future who's a threat to me, I shall also destroy. I am so powerful. And so arrogant, they feel that they even dare to claim, Aham Asmi Isvara. Aham, I, Asmi, am Ishvara, I am the Lord. They feel they are more superior, they are more greater than any human being. They claim that no other human being is equal to them in power, wealth, status. But the thing is, we have read about many of these asuras, demoniac people like Hiranyakashipu. It's a classic example who boasted so much about his power and wealth, but eventually also came to his downfall. So he says, carries on to say how such people express themselves. He says, because they are so engrossed with the enjoyment of all the sense pleasures, they claim, Aham, I am Bhogi, I am the enjoyer. I am enjoying everything which I have acquired, everything I've obtained by my own hard work, my own wisdom. I am a self-made man, therefore I alone deserve to enjoy everything, which means is I'm not going to share this with others. I don't care about others. I have worked hard, I have enjoyed this, I have earned this, I myself will enjoy it. So many things they have, so much money, car, big bungalow, club membership, and they say we will enjoy the most luxurious and high-flying life. So what else? He says, Aham Siddhaha. They proclaim, Aham, I am. Siddhaha means the most established, the most successful person. Of course, they are successful, but they only look upon their success from the material standpoint. How many properties, cars, and servants they have, they never take into account consideration of divine qualities like compassion, humility, acts of charity, austerity, and spiritual knowledge. So they don't take these as a sign of success. To such demoniac people, all these are meaningless and waste of time qualities to cultivate. They also state, Aham Balavan, I am mighty, I am powerful, as with my money, with my power, I can buy anyone and anything. And sometimes people like this, they make statements like, when they get angry, they tell you, do you know who I am? Do you know what I can do to you? So this is how they behave, the demoniac people. And they also say, not only am I Balavan, I am mighty and strong, I am Sukhi, I am most contented, I am most happy, because I have all the comforts. But actually, mentally, they are never happy because they are always scheming for more and more also. So, this is how they talk, this is how they behave. And when we come back in the next video, we will carry on with verse number 15, where Lord carries on to describe about how these demonic people behave. Hari Om Tat Sat.